You have just finished a massive Swiss chard harvest and your soil is well primed. So if you plant the wrong thing next, you're going to be throwing away months of hard work. So what to plant next really matters. So for me, I went for maize and beans, and today I'll be showing you why this combination of beans maize is the ultimate succession power couple. You see, for succession planting, it's not just about filling up the space. It's about the soil chemistry. See, for example, now for the Swiss chard that was here, it has been here for the last 8 months or so, heavily. So it's heavily fed on the nitrogen because it's been a leafy green. Yeah, it really feeds heavily on the nitrogen. And now you see what you plant next really matters. Why did I go for beans? See, for beans, being a legume, it's a nitrogen fixer. What it does that, nitrogen, it absorbs nitrogen from the air and stores it into the roots. So with that, now it fixes the nitrogen depletion that occurred when the Swiss chard was here. See, now the Swiss chard, being a leafy green, was heavily feeding on the nitrogen. Now for the legumes, it will be now helping to fix the nitrogen and preparing the soil for the next crop. So why did I go for this combination of maize and beans? Because for one, this combination of maize and beans, it's quite a major food staple here in this region. So that's number one. Of course, with this what I'm going here now, you'll at least be able to supply us food for our consumption here at the farm for quite some time. In addition to that, of course, there's the advantage of now the maize providing a natural trellis which is supporting the beans from touching the ground. So they'll have somewhere to support themselves as they grow, because especially now, like during the rainy season, see, the beans, they grow quite tall, and if they touch the ground, they'll be maybe susceptible to issues like fungal diseases, and you may end up with a poor results, poor output. The production will not be as good. So the advantage is now this combination, as much as you're getting this, both the beans are providing the nitrogen that the maize, or rather the corn, requires to thrive, and at the same time the corn is providing the beans with the natural support. So the two, they are beneficial to each other. So that's why I went for that combination of maize and beans. So now for this patch, this is about 7 weeks going to 2 months since I sowed these beans, as well as the maize. But and then I did a spacing of about 20 to 30 centimeters from plant to plant for the beans, and then now did a single row. This was the beds that were there, because this row, the edge, I didn't plant any maize, so for access purposes. But with the others, see, this was the bed as it was. I did 2 rows of beans, about 30 centimeters or so from plant to plant. And then on the others, now that's when I do a single file of maize of about, and a spacing of about 90 centimeters or so from plant to plant for the maize. But now on each hole, I did about 3 seeds. You can see that the 2 to 3 plants. The spacing of about a meter each. So that's the idea. That's how I went about it. So again, now another thing you need to note, maybe with this combination of the beans and maize, maybe one thing you may need to consider is probably doing the maize maybe a week or 2 earlier. 2 to 3 weeks earlier before sowing the beans. Reason being that now, because now to avoid the beans outpacing the young corn and maybe strangling the young stalks. But depends again with the variety that you're growing. But it's possible you can consider, sowing your maize first, and then a week or so later, or later, you can now come in and sow in your beans. So that now we can have that nice combination, Now when the beans grow, they can use that the already established maize to support themselves. Once the seeds hit the ground, it's go. So what you need is just to ensure there is consistent moisture, because both of these crops require consistent moisture. For me here now, I've grown this during the rainy season, so they have received sufficient. So there's no need for watering. This was purely rain fed. The other thing you need now to be on the lookout is for pests and diseases. For beans, mainly the main culprit will be things like aphids, and then for the maize is a pest like stalk borers. But there's also another major pest that is currently, giving us a headache, and that is fall armyworm. So for the pests, especially the fall armyworm, you need to be doing proper scouting to ensure you catch it early enough, and use the necessary, you check for any signs of damage, especially at the center here, the wall of the crop. See whether there is any some sort of damage or what is sawdust like something like this close to this. The sign that there was a issue with the fall armyworm, but this was taken care of earlier. See what you're looking for, something close to this. It looks like some sawdust or some sort, mainly at the center of the crop down here. That's what it affects. That's how it fall armyworm affects your crop. You need to tackle that early enough, and you can see this. With this now, I got it in early enough. Already it had started attacking, but now since it has been cleared, so for you to have a healthy crop and ensure you manage you're able to get your harvest in check, you need to take care of you do proper scouting, and possibly early enough, within the first 2 or 3 weeks, because now before the crop density comes high and you're not able to manage your crop properly. So you also need to be on the lookout for diseases, especially for the beans. The issues, and more so during the rainy season and such issues, especially diseases like fungal disease like angular leaf spot and such. So proper scouting as well. Check on the leaves if there is discoloration some sort, and then you can do the necessary, maybe something like a copper-based fungicide, to deal with that. But here, at least for me, my case here, all seems well. There are no issues. I cannot see any signs of disease on my beans, and so that's all. But you need to do proper scouting, and more so do it early enough. And the other reason why you need to be on the lookout for pest and disease early enough. These are the beds. See, once the crop establishes properly, the density and all, it becomes difficult now to manage. You see, all the pathways have now. It's very difficult to access these beds, and at the moment, you can see that the beans are flowering. Yeah, so you don't want to be going through those beds and affecting the leaves. You might easily, mess up with the production, because now once you go shaking the leaves, moving around, you might damage the crop, affect the flowers. With that, this is what now will form the pods. Now you get your beans. So you don't want to. So that's why you need early scouting, deal with the disease and pest and disease that may occur, and now you have a healthy crop and no need to disturb the crops. Same thing goes to the weeding. So once you've sowed your seed, you do your weeding early enough. Once you've done the weeding, you see now there's no way, with that plant population, there's no way weeds can. See, there's barely space down there. So there's barely space down there. Yes, the weeds are trying to establish, but there is no way they cannot establish properly, because they cannot be able to receive enough sunlight. So this crop will go all the way to harvest without any further issues of weeds. So because this now in another month's time, should be ready for harvest. So when you're doing your crops, especially for the rotation, a gold standard is, you see, like from a leafy green, a leafy crop whereby you're harvesting the leaves, you go to a crop that maybe you're harvesting fruit or grain. Like in my case here, I moved from Swiss chard to now the beans and the maize. So that's a gold standard in rotation. At least try to cycle. If you move from say, a leafy green, you can go to a crop that you're harvesting fruit or a grain, then you move to a tuber and so on and so, like something like that. So that's more like it. That's how I go about the process here in the crop rotation. So thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, happy farming.